Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Ahmad Zaim bin Muhammad Bahriwan, and I would like to talk about introduction of Islamic finance. Islamic finance is rooted in the nation as money should not have had any intrinsic value. It is merely a technique of swapping goods and services that are of value. The belief of you mustn't make money from money is connected towards this way of looking at things about money. This implies that it is best to avoid engaging in any type of interest-related activity, including paying or receiving it. Equal reward and risk must be distributed. This might occur among two people, a person as well as a business, or perhaps a business plus an additional business. You don't need to be especially a Muslim to access Islamic finance, goods and services. That's it from me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Koyum, and I'll be presenting you on what is Islamic finance and the importance of Islamic finance. For the first point, Islamic finance is a subset that must follow Sharia law. This means that Islamic finance practices the principle of Sharia law. For example, no interest is allowed, investing in businesses involving prohibited activities is not allowed, Maise, and Gara. Moving on to the next point, modern Islamic banking that interest cannot be paid or charged. Muslim is not allowed to benefit from lending money or receiving money from someone else. This means that earning interest, riba, is not allowed whether you are an individual or bank. To comply with this rule, interest is not paid on Islamic saving or current accounts or charged on Islamic mortgages. Next point, Islamic finance may be a powerful tool for advancing economic growth. For example, Islamic finance has the potential to increase access to financial service and promote financial inclusion for underserving population by broadening the availability of wider variety financial products. Last but not least, Islamic banking places an emphasis on partnership-style financing. By doing this, it may help in expanding the poor and small businesses' access to the capital. That is all from me. Thank you.
So now, I want to explain the concept of owning a property and asset in accordance to Sharia law. In Islam, it is stated that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is the owner of all wealth and possessions on this earth, and humans in this world are only temporary borrowers of all the luxuries given in this world. For your information, owning any property and assets is part of the natural things that happen to all humans, where we can divide it to three parts of property. Among them are state property, common property, and individual assets. As such, property being as a divine gift of Allah to everyone should not be concentrated in the hands of the few. That's why the right to own private property and economic resources to make a profit, to expand jobs, to others to boost investment, and also to increase prosperity. All humans need to manage their wealth as much as possible by paying zakat, avoiding riba, and encouraging share risk to help others.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Ahmad Zaim, and I will talk about riba. Riba is banned in Islamic financial system, and Islam has forbid Muslims to give or take interest. Riba has several categories, which are riba al-buyu, which means riba in trade transaction, and riba al-duyun, which is mean riba in loan transaction. Riba al-buyu has other fractions, which are riba al-nasiyah, riba of delay, and riba al-faq, riba of excess. Riba al-nasiyah happen when there is an element of delay in the trade exchange. For example, uh, trading 10 kilogram of gold with 10 kilogram of gold with a delay of 2 years. Next, riba al-fard happens when there are additional quantities or inconsistencies in the exchange of goods. For example, an exchange of 3 kg of rice with 5 kg of rice. Riba al-duyun also has other fractions which are riba al-qard and riba al-jahiliyah. Riba al-qard with riba al-qard is any predetermined profit for the owner of the debt written in the contract which the debtor needs to fulfill. The other one is riba al-jahiliyah, which is a form of interest that is charged above the original debt as a penalty when the payment is overdue. The rationale behind the prohibition of riba is a cause of injustice and exploitation. It is unfair for lenders to guarantee return with no involvement in risk. Next, riba leads to creation of materialistic society. Banks are willing to lend as much as possible, and it makes people with greed to spend their money beyond their means, and it will lead to negative consequences. Riba also discourages productive work and increases the disparities in income and wealth. That's it from me. Thank you.
So next, I will brief about gharar. Gharar means uncertainty and is associated with deception involving uncertainty and risk. Gharar can arise when the claim of ownership is unclear or suspicious. Gharar dealings are harmful to certainty and openness in business dealings. So, why is it harmful? The prohibition of gharar protects businesses against transactions that involve high uncertainty or deceit, as they have the scope to cause injustice. The prohibitions of gharar protects against unexpected losses, disagreements, misunderstanding, and distrust, and consequently promote satisfactions in business dealings. Example of gharar can include gambling, contracts not drawn out in clear terms, derivative transactions such as forwards, futures, options, and forms of speculations such as short selling and selling something of uncertain quality.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Abdul Hakim bin Edi Muzaffar. My matrix is UDC 210234. I will do about question 5. Why gambling and money trading is prohibited in Islamic finance. The first point is gambling is when people offer their rates and they will benefit one of them and will harm other people. Gambling in Islamic finance is called maisir, and the meaning of maisir is when two or more parties make an offer to give their own goods or services that will benefit one of the parties, and the other parties will harm them by entering into an agreement between them by an action or event. Mankind is forbidden to gambling, especially for Muslim. To gamble and play games of chance considered of an act of sin. However, some people think that gambling is deliberately forbidden in Sharia law. This issue is happening because it is said in the Quran that man is created for fun and bad times. That the Quran also states that when it is good, be thankful. So the second one is gambling is a game of chance that involves betting the rates. Gambling is a game of chance that betting something of value on the outcome of the game. Gambling can happen in many ways, such as betting on the result of a sporting event, the price of an item at an auction, or a roll of dice. Gambling has been banned by Allah and has been conveyed through revelation revealed to the Prophet of Muhammad SAW and given to the ruling in the category of haram. In Islam, gambling is not good to make money or profit, because if you become rich with take other people's property with the wrong methods. The third point is the loser was forced to hand over their property to the winner. Masih is said something that very simple without any effort or profit without any effort. Therefore, it is known as gambling, and this is said to be a game in which the loser is forced to hand over their property. Every human being has a property-loving nature. Therefore, they are ready to obtain property by all means, regardless of halal and haram, to obtain the property by gambling. The fourth point is gambling will make people addictive, because if they are lucky, they will acquire property at a large amount. Gambling has a great benefit for humans, but the harm is much greater for individuals and society. In addition, if caught up in this, those who gamble are said to be obligated to hand over their property to the winner, and the winner will have to collect the winner results. People who are stuck in this, for him gambling is the same as entertainment, and society will think that gambling is permissible, especially people who think that gambling is very common and reasonable, but they do not know that gambling is so hated in Islam. Thank you very much. But for question 5 is money trading. The first point is money trading use bank as intermediary, and bank have element of riba, and banks are engaged in the interest of usury, which is prohibited in Islam. Therefore, forex trading under such condition is not allowed. The second point is currency exchange is allowed in Islam. And the question is asked regarding halal or haram. In money exchange is provided that there is no interest element that is made hand to hand. The converter has a valid reason to expect a possible profit based on analysis that does not depend on the psychology of gambling. At a minimum, an instrument forex broker can be used to trade widely, and it should eliminate all usually challenges that arise in this exchange. The third point is short selling is prohibited due to sellers selling something that does not own yet. Short selling in Islamic finance is clearly prohibited based on Sharia principle, because it involves selling something that the seller does not have its own anymore. In stock trading, short selling refers to the practice of trying to profit from a devaluation in shares, since it is impossible to sell something that someone does not own. The fourth point is the trader borrow the shares to selling at short time and paying interest to the lenders. And the 5 point is traders hoping the value of shares decrease, which is stock borrowers are then expected to buy some shares equivalent to what they borrow later, but a cheaper and lower price. Then repay the loan, and the rest is taken as a profit. Thank you very much.
I will continue with the reason why monopoly is prohibited under Islamic finance. The practice of monopoly or ihtikar is strongly prohibited under Islamic finance according to the Sharia because of its unlawful strategy, and it leads to injustice. The majority opinion, which is also most in line with the aims of the Sharia, is that the prohibited monopoly is a monopoly that causes harm on people and makes it difficult for them with the monopoly's intention to sell goods when the price is inflated and at the highest possible price. Whoever does this will be considered a monopolist, and his deed is prohibited. Monopolist has an option whether to offer the goods to the market or not. Monopolists hold the goods, keeping it secret from the society in order to gain a huge advantage by increasing the price when people are in dire need of the goods. When a monopolist holds the goods and keep it secret from the society, that goods will be hard to find, and the other supplier of that goods will easily run out of stock because people have no way to find that goods. In this situation, the monopolist will take advantage by supplying that goods with higher prices than normal. Indirectly, the monopolist had put a burden on the people who are in dire needs. Monopoly in the banking system, for example, a monopoly will provide financial strength and commercial practice in society. The Islamic spirit of recognizing that a monopoly will give undue rights of power to some groups will also have an impact on incompetence. The question that arises, is it permissible to participate in the activities of the company or invest in a business engage in monopoly practices that do not contradict the law and illegal activities? Monopoly carried out by supply groups and one player to exploit consumers and workers. Many experts tend to express monopolies compared to legal practices in Islam. Monopoly nowadays, as some companies usually do, is not only to control supply to influence prices, but also to maintain business according to the desire of the government and market penetration by making a significant decrease in prices. Currently, rival firms are more dangerous monopolies in the same industry than bad consumers. The reason why monopolistic practices are being prohibited is to prevent the harm that will befall people as a result. Scholars are in agreement that if a person possesses the items that people desperately need and they cannot find anyone else to supply it, he is to be forced to sell it in order to reduce the harm and remove hardship from people. As said by Imam Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, monopoly occurs in everything, including food products, jute, woolen, and or safflower products and the like. Whatever, if withheld, would harm people, the withholder should be prevented from doing it. But if he is not harming consumers or their commerce, there is nothing wrong with it. Here is an example of a monopoly. It can be specially defined by a specific type since there are a lot of them, but there are also some examples that can be taken of such a monopoly in the process of production of products, either in groups or individually with the aim of controlling prices, competitive production and supply, and even monopolies in certain trade or services. When a group of monopolies the whole process and prevents others from providing the same service, meanwhile the community is in dire need of service. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anna AJ, and this part I'm going to talk about what is Sharia compliant product with further situational example included. To start off, Sharia compliant products are the products that especially exchangeable for money, obviously not prohibited in Islam, not traded under duress, free from riba, traded in the open market, and last but not least, not monopolized by one party. That is the basic knowledge for individuals to know more about what is actually Sharia compliant products. Moving on to the next point, I'm going to explain about Murabaha, which is a debt-based product. It is also known as cost-plus financing. Murabaha by meaning is an agreement between the seller and the buyer regarding the asset cost and markup. As an example, Danish want to purchase a super bag from Alex Bike Shop for RM 200,000. Danish will achieve this by getting in touch with a bank that employs a Murabaha idea, which would buy the super bag from Alex Bike Shop for RM 200,000 and sell it to Danish for RM 210,000 to be paid in installments over 4 years. There is no interest associated with the payment Danish made to the bank that owns the asset. It is a fixed amount. Furthermore, Danish would not be subject to any further fees if he defaulted on any payments. Although Danish is effectively taking out a 3% loan from the bike shop, Islamic law permits it because it is supplied as a set sum with no associated fees. Up next, we have Mudarabah, which is an equity-based product. By meaning, it is a profit-sharing structure in which the managing trustee, as an example, Ali, who is also known as Rabbul Mal, the investment partner, will be in charge of investing in the purchase of automobiles, payment of the rent, and other office expenses. Meanwhile, Abu, the working partner, which is also known as Mudarib, is in charge of providing skill, knowledge, and the business management. This is so because, according to Mudarabah, a partnership is a relationship in which one partner finances a commercial venture while the other controls the enterprise. At last, there's takaful, where individuals invest their money to insure one another from damage or losses. As an example, Ali plans to save 100 ringgit per month for 10 years by saving himself. But unfortunately, after 5 years, Ali was confirmed to be paralyzed due to an accident while traveling to work. The accumulated savings amount is 6,000. Due to paralysis, Ali could not longer work and could not continue saving as he had planned. As a result, the family's source of income is cut off. Meanwhile, Abu also plans to save 100 per month for 10 years in the Takaful fight. But after 5 years, Abu was diagnosed as paralyzed due to a road accident while traveling to work. Although only 6,000 had been accumulated, the Takaful party had given RM 350,000 as hibah for Abu's misfortune. Although Abu is paralyzed and unable to work, Abu still has money to save and the family income still has a source of income to continue living. On this last slide, I will be giving some of the products that were illustrated based on the Sharia compliant by the bank of our choice, which is Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad. Many types of product were provided by the bank, but the ones that will be illustrated in this paragraph were under corporate banking, which is categorized as financing products. To start off, there is Muamalat Cash Line Facility I, which also known as Mcash. The product is based on the Sharia concept of tawarruk and other relevant Sharia contracts. For business use, this product is offered for working capital purposes and or in combination with other credit facilities acceptable by the bank. Benefits that were to be gained are revolving in nature and at the bank, as its discretion may grant IBRA or rebate on any financing amount unutilized. Up next, there is commercial property financing, which also known as CPF, which is a financing package based on the Sharia concept of tawarruk with the combination of property financing I tawarruk and Mcash I products. This product package is designed to cater for finance or refinancing, the purchase of business premises, and to provide cash financing to the customer for business banking and SME retail business. Benefits that were to be gained are the bank, at its discretion, may grant IBRA or rebate on any unutilized financing amount. Also, there is Muamalat leasing, which also known as Al-Ijarah. This financing is based on the principle of Al-Ijarah. By definition, Al-Ijarah is a contract where the benefits or use of an asset is transferred by the owner, which is lessor, to the lessee at an agreed price or rental amount for an agreed period of time or lease period. Benefits that were to be gained are a ready source of funds to meet the working capital requirement in case of sale and leaseback. Another one that is yet to be discussed is Muamalat Revolving Financing I, which is also known as MRF. This facility is based on the Al-Murabaha contract. Under Murabaha, the bank finances the customer by purchasing the Muamalat Revolving Financing Trust Certificate and executing of Muamalat Revolving Financing Sale Contract. MRF is for working capital financing only. Benefits that were to be gained are a competitive rate of profit, asset securitization that allows multiple drawdowns, 100% financing on the Muamalat Revolving Financing Trust Certificate, and it is a ready source of funds. Last but not least, there is Muamalat Murabaha Tawarruk Financing. Tawarruk is an agreement that involves the purchase of a commodity or asset based on a deferred payment basis by way of Murabaha. In this case, the customer is purchasing the commodity as the underlying asset from the bank. The commodity or asset is then sold for cash to a party other than the original seller. To wrap it all up, that is from my part. Thank you.
In conclusion, understanding the principles of Islamic finance has become really important since the Islamic finance industry has grown its presence globally. More specifically, Islamic banking has emerged as a viable alternative to conventional banking in most Muslim and non-Muslim countries. Even though Islamic finance emerged in response to market needs of Muslim clients, it is not a religious institution. Islamic finance is implemented both in moral and social contexts for human, material, and spiritual growth and prosperity. Islamic finance seriously confronts systems and acts that violate the cardinal concept of fairness and justice. Therefore, one must clearly understand the principles, concepts, and theories of Islamic finance and how they differ from other financial systems. Any financial transaction must be free from the prohibition elements according to the Sharia law such as riba, gharar, and maisir, otherwise the transaction will be void. In addition, the literature shows that early Islamic jurists, scholars, and contemporary researchers hold them in high esteem in Islamic financial transactions. We can argue that Islamic financial transactions must be free from what have been prohibited by Sharia such as riba, gharar, and maisir. This is not only due to the injustice inherent in this mechanism, but also it creates social harm in the form of inflation, unemployment, volatility, and instability. Thank you.